In the intricate dance between humans and nature, we often find ourselves in conflict with creatures that invade our living spaces. Among these unwelcome guests, rodents pose a particular challenge. They are clever, adaptable, and can cause significant damage if left unchecked. This is where rodent traps come into play, serving as our first line of defense against these persistent pests. Understanding how rodent traps work is not just a matter of curiosity, it's a crucial aspect of effective pest control. From the simple snap trap to more sophisticated electronic versions, each type of trap has its own unique mechanism and application. By delving into the world of rodent traps, we equip ourselves with the knowledge to make informed decisions about pest control in our homes and businesses. This understanding allows us to choose the most appropriate traps for our specific situations, maximizing our chances of success in managing rodent populations. To truly understand how rodent traps work, we must first delve into the behavior of our clever adversaries. Rodents, particularly mice and rats, are creatures of habit with highly developed senses. They rely heavily on their sense of smell, touch, and hearing to navigate their environment and avoid potential dangers. One of the most important aspects of rodent behavior is their tendency to follow established paths along walls and other vertical surfaces. This behavior, known as thigmotaxis, is a survival mechanism that helps them navigate quickly and safely in unfamiliar environments. Understanding this behavior is key to effective trap placement. Another crucial factor in rodent behavior is their dietary preferences and feeding patterns. While rodents are opportunistic eaters and will consume a wide variety of foods, they often have specific preferences based on their species and the available food sources in their environment. Mice, for instance, are nibblers, preferring to take small amounts of food from multiple sources. Rats, on the other hand, are more cautious and may avoid new food sources initially. These feeding behaviors influence the type of bait that will be most effective in luring them to traps. By understanding and working with these behavioral traits, we can significantly increase our chances of successful rodent control. Among the various types of rodent traps available, the snap trap stands out as the most recognizable and widely used. This classic design has been a staple of pest control for over a century. Its simple yet effective mechanism reliably catches mice and rats. The design consists of a base with a spring-loaded bar that snaps down when triggered. The effectiveness lies in their simplicity. Properly set, they catch rodents swiftly and humanely. The triggering mechanism releases the spring-loaded bar. This action happens in a fraction of a second. Snap traps are reusable. They can be easily cleaned and reset. This makes them cost-effective for ongoing pest control. Additionally, they don't rely on chemicals or poisons. Snap traps remain popular due to their reliability and affordability. Moving from the mechanical action of snap traps, we come to a different approach in rodent control glue traps. These traps, also known as sticky traps or glue boards, rely on a simple yet effective principle. They consist of a flat surface covered with an extremely sticky adhesive. When a rodent steps onto the trap, it becomes stuck and is unable to free itself. The primary advantage of glue traps is their versatility. They can be placed in a variety of locations, including tight spaces where other types of traps might not fit. Glue traps are particularly effective for catching smaller rodents like mice as well as insects. They don't require careful setting like snap traps, reducing the risk of injury to the user. However, the use of glue traps is not without controversy. Animal welfare organizations often criticize these traps as inhumane, as caught rodents may suffer for an extended period before dying of dehydration or starvation. Despite these concerns, glue traps continue to be used in various settings, particularly in commercial and industrial environments where quick and effective pest control is crucial. When using glue traps, it's important to check them frequently and dispose of caught rodents promptly to minimize suffering. Section 5. Electronic traps, high-tech rodent management. As technology advances, so too do our methods of pest control. Electronic rodent traps offer a high-tech solution to an age-old problem. They use electricity to quickly and humanely dispatch rodents. These traps lure rodents into a chamber and deliver a lethal electric shock. The trap is typically baited with food to attract the rodent. Once inside, the rodent completes an electrical circuit, triggering the shock. This ensures a quick and relatively painless death. Electronic traps are easy to use and often feature indicator lights. However, they tend to be more expensive than traditional traps. Section 6. Live traps, humane alternatives for pest removal. For those seeking a non-lethal approach to rodent control, live traps offer a humane alternative. These traps are designed to capture rodents without harming them, allowing for their release in a different location. Live traps come in various designs, but all operate on the principle of enticing the rodent to enter a confined space from which it cannot escape. The most common type of live trap is the cage trap. These typically consist of a wire or plastic enclosure with a door that closes behind the rodent once it enters. The door is often triggered by a pressure plate that the rodent steps on while investigating the bait. One of the primary advantages of live traps is their humane nature. They allow for the removal of pests without causing harm, which can be particularly appealing in situations where lethal methods are undesirable or prohibited. Live traps also eliminate the need for handling dead rodents, which some people find unpleasant. However, live traps do come with their own set of challenges. They require more frequent checking than lethal traps to ensure captured animals don't suffer from prolonged confinement. There's also the question of where to release captured rodents. Despite these considerations, live traps remain a popular choice for those seeking a more compassionate approach to rodent control. Section 7. The inner workings mechanics of rodent traps. To truly appreciate the effectiveness of rodent traps, we must delve into the mechanics that make them work. At the heart of most traps is a trigger mechanism, a crucial component that initiates the trapping action when a rodent interacts with it. This trigger can take various forms depending on the type of trap, but its function remains the same: to detect the presence of a rodent and activate the trap's catching mechanism. In snap traps, the trigger is typically a small, sensitive platform connected to a spring-loaded bar. When a rodent applies pressure to this platform, often while attempting to access bait, it releases the spring, causing the bar to snap down with considerable force. The sensitivity of this trigger is crucial. It must be responsive enough to be activated by a light touch, yet stable enough to avoid false triggers. Electronic traps employ a different type of trigger mechanism. These traps often use sensors to detect when a rodent has entered the trapping chamber. Once the rodent's presence is detected, it completes an electrical circuit, activating the lethal shock. Live traps, while not lethal, still rely on precise mechanics to function effectively. Understanding these mechanical principles is key to both using traps effectively and appreciating the ingenuity behind their design. Section 8. Selecting the perfect trap. Factors to consider. Choosing the right rodent trap is crucial for effective pest control, and several factors come into play when making this decision. The type and severity of your rodent problem, the layout of your space, and your personal preferences all influence which trap will work best for your situation. First and foremost, identify the type of rodent you're dealing with. Mice and rats have different behaviors and sizes, which affect the kind of trap that will be most effective. Mouse traps are generally smaller and more sensitive, while rat traps are larger and sturdier. If you're unsure which rodent you're dealing with, look for signs such as droppings or gnaw marks, which can give you clues about the size of your pest. Consider the location where you'll be placing the traps. If you're dealing with an infestation in a living area where children or pets are present, you might want to opt for enclosed traps or those that can be placed out of reach. Your personal comfort level with handling traps and disposing of rodents is another important consideration. While some traps are disposable, others can be cleaned and reused, potentially offering better value over time. Section 9. Mastering trap placement location is everything. When it comes to rodent control, the old real estate adage holds true. Location, location, location. Proper placement of traps is often the difference between a successful pest management strategy and a frustrating exercise in futility. Understanding where to place traps requires knowledge of rodent behavior and a keen eye for signs of activity. Let's explore the key principles of effective trap placement.